Welcome to Reece's Reviews. Another episode is in your pod feed or wherever you're listening on YouTube or any other device that you have this place hooked up on. My name is Matt, and joining me on this podcast is the person who this podcast is named after, Reece. Hi, Reece.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody going in this fresh new week?
Yes, and this podcast is brought to you by mygeekculture.com.au, and we are going to review a couple of things, or Reece's anyway, and then I'll do my own contribution. But we're going to mix it up again a little bit. That's when we say mix it up. It's just an excuse to say, hey, we're not consistent. So
yeah, I think so. It's just pretty much, we're calling it Reece's Reviews, but it's pretty much My Geek Culture Reviews in a way. So we're just going to spitball how things are going to go. We're just going to say how things are going to be kind of relevant to the pop culture and entertainment industry, and just go forward from there and just see how we go from there. So
cool. Well, this episode, we're looking at one modern, updated, recent review. We're also going to do a top 10 of something, and then we're going to end on a classic review. So that's the structure for this episode. Gotcha. So get ready to fast forward, rewind, whatever you want to listen to. At the time of this recording, it is fresh in the cinema, and that is the 2025 resurrection of the DC Comics Superman himself.
Yes, it is. Now, anybody who's been listening to this podcast maybe last week or the week before, this has been my most anticipated film of the year.
Okay, well, will there be any spoilers in this chat?
No. I'm just being very thoughtful of your audience. I'll do my non-spoiler review.
At the time of this recording, I have not seen it. So I've only seen bits and pieces that are on YouTube.
I'm not going to give anything away because I'm very evident about you not being able to see it as of yet, which is perfectly fine. Now, I went and saw this on the weekend at IMAX Sydney. I did a little recording about my initial thoughts before I went into the film, which we'll play right now. Well, hello, all geeks, nerds, and all lovers of entertainment. This is Reece Cashel on behalf of My Geek Culture and Reece's Reviews podcast. This is going into the brand new Superman movie directed by James Gunn, and this is my pre-thoughts going into this film right now on IMAX Sydney. Anyone who's listened to this podcast the last few days or over the last few weeks knows that this film is my most anticipated film of the year. I am so looking forward to it. My expectations are so high. All I want out of this film is to be entertained. I want to have heart. I want to have the emotion and the essence of hope that is Superman. I want to get out of this film walking out and just feeling like a better person, making it feel that pride of being a better person due to the fact of what character that is Superman and Clark Kent. I'm a huge fan of James Gunn and all the films that he's done over these last number of years, and I cannot wait to see what he's done with Superman and the start of the brand new DCU, the DC Universe, starting off with Superman live action. I cannot wait to see this film. I will do an out-of-theater reaction, but I have a special guest with me today who is also a massive, big cinemaphile, big filmography lover. This is Stuart Liddell. So we're going to get his thoughts about this film. What are you expecting to come out of this film?
Lots. And I'm looking forward to the fact that for once we're not getting another origin booming first 45 minutes. Let's see how we can waste Act 1 thing. We're jumping straight into the action, already pre-establishment. So it's going to be good to see what it's been like post already been on Earth for 2 years and already established with the population. So yeah, bring it on.
Cool. Is there any cast members or any characters in specifically that you're actually really looking forward to seeing, or anything overall?
Well, again, the fact that they've used another upcoming actor with David, similar to the way they brought in with Henry. Henry had been in a couple of movies, but nothing too hot and flashy. He'd been known for a lot of British stuff before he then took on the cape. Similar with David, he's been in a few TV series here and there. He was a co-star and supporting actor when it came to Twisters, so you got to see a little bit of what he was like. But now he's standing strong and tall, similar to the way Henry did all those years ago, like was it 13 years ago now, back in 2012 when we saw Man of Steel. So again, you're seeing another new up-and-comer playing the role of Superman. It's not another pre-established big Hollywood superstar. So being able to see someone up and coming, and again to make the film their own with another great level of support cast with some pre-established big names, like you've got Nathan Fillion, you've got Nicholas Hoult, and so by having some up and comers as well as pre-established, you've got that really nice general mix of great cast. Can't wait to see what they pull off.
Absolutely, I totally agree. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing Nathan Fillion. Guy Gardner, to be honest, being not a comic book reader, I don't know too much about the character.
Oh, come on, it's Nathan Fillion. He's going to be a smart ass.
Yes, he is. So the fact that they've got Nathan Fillion to play this type of Lantern in the Green Lantern Corps is just perfect casting, in my opinion. So cannot wait to see what he does.
And that hairdo, what the hell?
Yes, and the hairdo, which is straight out of the comics. It's straight out of the comics, so I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what he provides and what he gives to us. Isabel Merced, I've been loving all the performances she's been doing lately. I've just finished watching The Last of Us Season 2, which she was an absolute standout. The way that she captivated the screen, the emotion that she can captivate. I'm really intrigued to see what she does in this film and what she does with future projects. And we got another Lex Luthor. We got Nicholas Hoult, so I'm really looking forward to him delving into the evil side of a character growth with this film, with this character and this film. So here's to a heart-stopping, adrenaline, fun, entertaining ride presented to us by the new DCU and James Gunn. Let's see what we think post this film. We'll talk to you soon. Okay, out of the theatre reaction from seeing Superman, James Gunn's newest addition to the DC universe, and I can wholeheartedly say it fulfilled on everything. Make you believe in peace and justice and heart and hope. Everything I wanted out of this film, it provided and some. James Gunn knew the assignment. He knew that this film didn't have to go big at the box office, but it had to be fantastic and provide that sense of hope and justice and just believing in yourself. And it provided it in spades. I absolutely adore this film. The screenplay, the editing, the cinematography with the fight scenes were all done to perfection. The entire cast is perfectly casted, with the chemistry throughout being on display. The chemistry between Rachel and David was the heart of this film, which just made it wholeheartedly amazing to witness and just rooting for their relationship to succeed. And then you got little Easter eggs with Crypto and just being that little sense of fun and entertaining. And then you've got Nicholas Hoult just being amazing at the villain of Lex Luthor and just bringing a whole evilness to the story. Just absolutely incredible. I'm still with the man, the legend of Stuart Liddell. What did you think?
Absolutely phenomenal. I will say it's easily a 5 out of 5 for me, and you don't get them very often for me. In fact, they're rare. I give them out. Again, I wholeheartedly agree with everything you've said. Perfect casting. Just along the lines of William H. Macy's Frank Gallagher, you love to hate Nicholas Hoult playing Lex, and that's when you know you've got a fantastic villain. Great casting throughout, great comedy, written by James Gunn. Sometimes you feel like you're watching a bit of Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's exactly what the DC universe needed for a perfect, robust kick up the ass, and that's exactly what he's brought to it. CGI on point, barely noticed a flaw, score, and I'll tell you this now, I have not felt that emotional about a portrayal of Superman since watching Christopher Reeve for the first time. My touts to Henry Cavill, he brought what he did for the Snyderverse. Snyderverse went down a darker route. However, with this one, it brought back that true feeling of the original Superman movie all over again.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Another thing I would definitely add before we sign off on this little recording is that the length of this film, you are not felt it at all. You go through the entire film just totally enthralled within the story. And
pacing is perfect.
Yes, couldn't agree more. Pacing is absolutely on perfect. Got to the end and going, cannot believe that was 2 hours. I could watch at least another half an hour and that would have been phenomenal. James Gunn, you are a legend. You have delivered wholeheartedly what we wanted, and it is so bright to see what the DC universe is going to provide next. Yes, for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, this is a non-spoiler. There are 2 post-credit scenes. Check them out if you wish to. Again, fantastic film. We cannot wait to talk about it more. Now I've had a few days to reflect on it. I've actually seen this movie twice now. So I went into IMAX Sydney, and then 2 days later, I went and saw it again because it was that good. I had that much of a experience with this film that it just left an impression on me. I could talk about this film for a couple of hours now. I could say a lot of things. So this film,
Well, I had a sympathy watch, like the fact that you went and saw it twice. So
Yep.
I was at home on the weekend and watched Man of Steel. So, which is I do have all the Superman movies, and that I do enjoy. I wish
Yeah.
they developed more of the Snyderverse, because I
Okay,
quite
all right.
enjoyed it. Anyway, so I
Yeah,
watched
well-
the Henry Cavill version.
well, for a long, long time, Henry Cavill, I think it still is my Superman. And Man of Steel, I apologize for it. I think that film is severely underrated. It is a brilliant, brilliant film, and it encompasses a lot of things that I value in Superman. But going into this one, I just wanted to be entertained. I wanted to have the character of Superman. It brought me with entertainment and heart, and just make me believe in that character again. And like I've been saying the last couple of weeks, is that this film doesn't need to be big at the box office. It just needs to be a great time at the movies, a great film, provide a great story and narrative, make us believe in this new Superman, and kind of bring up that and put a new thrilling taste into our mouths when it comes to the DC and the universe that is encompassed in relation to getting past what the DCEU was left us with. And I can wholeheartedly say it delivered. James Gunn knew the task at hand with gaining the confidence back from the audience, and he delivered in spades. I loved this film, hence why I went and saw it twice. The good thing is, I went into the first viewing with so much high expectation that I was on a massive big high walking out of the film. So I thought that the best thing to do is to go see it again. Now that I've gotten that kind of experience out of my system, I can go into it with a fresh set of eyes in the second viewing and kind of take a lot more things on board that I didn't be able to get it in the first viewing, which I definitely did. Is this the best comic book film I've ever seen in my life? No. At the same time, I would watch this film constantly. It is a great, great time in the movie. Peace, hope, humanity. This Superman, David Cornsworth, embodies these characteristics, which is what you need from a Superman. I absolutely loved how the character was able to provide to show those kind of characteristics, which is not about how powerful this being is, because he is the most powerful being on Earth, but how he can bring this character and ground it into a very characteristic way, which can make us relate to him in a very humane way. The fact that you've got the most powerful being on Earth, an immigrant to Earth, how can you make that story relatable? And how can you bring it to a way of make us believe in him and want to root for him and still give him challenges that he can overcome? I believe James Gunn knew this task and he was able to succeed on that point. The supporting cast members were all perfectly cast. I think the big standout in the film is the chemistry between David Cornsworth and Rachel, which is Brosnahan, who plays Lois Lane. Their dynamic and their chemistry have been beautiful. I haven't seen that good of a chemistry since the Christopher Reeve films.
Oh wow, that's a big call.
Yeah, I love Man of Steel. I love Amy Adams. She's an amazing actress, absolutely phenomenal. But there were some times you didn't really believe their chemistry to an extent, which unfortunately was a bit of a shortfall. But this one, I'm in love with this new Lois Lane. She was feisty. She knew what she wanted. She was strong-willed. She was an amazing portrayal when it comes to the what's the word for the journalism side of things, and just the how they can bounce off with not just the emotional side of things when it comes to the romance side of things between her and Clark, or aka Superman, but also some of the other aspects with challenging him. Now, this is not a spoiler. It is shown in the trailer, which you can see a little bit on that interview scene that they had between Superman, Clark Kent, and Lois Lane. That scene is so enthralled and engaged, and you're like transfixed. It's so done, and it's very true what they say on a lot of the marketing and the promos and the interviews with the cast is that that scene was shot and felt like a scene out of play. Like it was
Wow.
just so bouncing back between each other. It was so well done. Crypto, he's amazing. He's so much fun to be around, and he is very stereotypically what you would get from a dog. Like he's a menace. He grabbed. He just the way he interacts. Superman.
Scene stealer.
It was, but he is funny. But that they don't try and over dramatize the crypto side of thing. It is a flying dog, but it's not. He blends in very well. It is not out of place when it comes to the story. And then you've got the other supporting cast members by the Justice Gang of Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, Mr. Terrific. You've got Nicholas Hoult, beautifully cast as Lex Luthor, makes you hate him, which is what you want from a villain. The only things there are some characters probably will get underutilized with not so much screen time, but other than that, fantastic film. The CGI, the cinematography, all done to perfection. You don't really notice much of the CGI missteps. The only thing I would say about it is a bit of a 50-50. It's a good thing, but it's a bad thing at the same time, is that the length of the film is a 2 hour film. You don't feel the length at all. By the time you get to the end of it, you're going, was that really 2 hours? It felt like an hour and a half.
So wasn't it wasn't like an overextended 2 hour
No,
30
no,
minute?
it wasn't at all. But I think that could also be a bit of a crux, a bit of a con from the film because some of the scenes, especially after watching the second time, some of the scenes don't have enough time to breathe in certain aspects. So if they extended it for maybe another maybe 10, 15 minutes, certain points, it could have rounded out the film very beautifully. But even with saying that, that's not a bad problem to have. You would rather have a film being edited and presented in such a fantastic way where you don't feel the length of the film because you're so engaged within the characters, than rather have the other side of the coin where you get into a point when you're feeling the runtime of the film. You think it should have been cut short. So outside of that, it's actually fantastically done. So to sum up this, the whole thing is Superman is 100% a film you should watch. I've seen it twice. I could see myself seeing it again. I gave it 4.5 stars
Wow.
on Letterboxd. Like I said, I knocked off that half a star just for the fact of there's maybe 1 to 2 points about it, which I'm not going to give spoilers, so I'll leave that to other points to people who want to ask me. But other than that, I am so hopeful now for the DC moving forward, which is what we wanted. James Gunn needed to succeed with this film and get us excited about the next installment. And the next installment is going to be a series. We're going to get Peacemaker season 2 coming up for the DCU. Following DC Peacemaker, we're going to get Lanterns on HBO Max, and then we're going to go straight into Supergirl. The next theatrical film is going to be Supergirl. So I am so looking forward to seeing what is going to be provided by the DCU. I loved everything. I would say majority of the things I loved about this film. I could see myself seeing it again. And if anybody's out there upping and ahhing about wanting to go see it, it is a fun time at the movies. I would say please take the time and go and see it.
Great.
That's pretty much my point on that. I know you haven't seen it yet, but when are you having intentions to go see it at the theaters, or what's your plan?
I am. I'm itching to go. It's just trying to find time to do it. So it is. Sorry, I've got a bit of a busy life right now, but it is definitely one of those things where I am planning to see it, and I'd say that with anything, I'm looking forward to the physical media release because
Yes.
no doubt there'll be an extended edition, and
Maybe James Gunn's not too often regarded to making extended cuts of his films. He's usually one of those directors where his films are on the screen is what his films are made, and he deletes scenes for a specific reason. So I don't think that he'll be doing an extended cut. I'll be intrigued to see what's the deleted and extended scenes that he might put on the digital or the physical release and those kind of things. Oh, another thing I would point out, this is not a spoiler. Film does have post-credit scenes. He has 2. If people are having babysitters or are going on a going on a date night and they're trying to get home, or not are upping and ahhing whether they should leave in the credits. The post credit scenes are not fully required. They're not a big. It's not like it sets up anything in the future. It's not like a big dramatic scenes that they have. They're enjoyable. They're a bit of fun. But if you miss them, you're not missing out on anything. So it's not much of a spoiler, but it is a little bit of a tip. If you don't want to wait around for the credits, you don't have to. They're a bit of fun. Yes, they are, but they're not required. So
Cool. Well, thank you, Reece.
no
Okay.
worries.
Our next segment. Now, please tell me about this top 10 of insert whatever this theme is.
Yeah, so I had this inspiration of, I thought I got this from another online pugnet, but I kind of thought we're now in July. We're getting towards the end of July by the time this podcast is recording, and I thought that we're halfway through the year. And I just thought that now the half year is gone, a lot of films knowingly have been released this year. And I thought we'd take some time just to go through some of those films that have been released this year, and I'll put them in a top 10. So there are a lot of films I've watched this year that have been released this year, but I thought I'd at least give my top 10 for the films that have been released this year theatrically and just put them in a list. And so from 10 up until my number one film of the year thus far, and going from there. So, and I will also provide some honorable mentions as well. So I'll start off with them. So I have some honorable mentions that maybe just shortened out on making the top 10 of my list at the moment. So the first film on the list was Black Bag. Now that is a film by Steven Soderbergh, fantastic writer, fantastic director, starring Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett. Fantastic film. You didn't know too much about what we were going to get in store with it, but I found it very intriguing. Both my wife and I definitely got some enjoyment out of that, with the whole secretive and how it all worked in how how the different characters work within each other. So I found that film was definitely should be mentioned about one of the great films of this year so far. Next thing, another honorable mention was The Accountant 2, a film that I did not think would get a sequel, but it did. I thoroughly enjoyed the first one. I only recently watched the first one because I was gearing up to this one. Definitely found it very much very enjoyable. A lot of charismatic scenes between Ben Affleck and John Bernthal. The film doesn't have a lot of action as much as the marketing says, but the action it does have is very engaging and very thrilling as well. So I would definitely put a mention onto The Accountant 2. Another honorable mention was the latest in the Mission Impossible franchise. Didn't make the list, unfortunately. I found the film a good entry, good kind of wrap up in a way to Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt. I found the film was a bit longer than it needed to be. It's the least action film out of the franchise of Mission Impossible, but the action set pieces are, as true Mission Impossible fashion, so nail biting. You keep you on the edge of your seat. You're so cinematic and all those kind of things. So I still definitely enjoyed the film, but it's not the best Mission Impossible in my eyes. I still think the best film out of the franchise is still Fallout, hands down to my point. But Final Reckoning doesn't diminish the fun of that franchise. It's not like it's a really, really bad entry. You can still get some enjoyment out of it. Just maybe went on for a bit too long in that aspect as well. Going on to the next one is actually a streaming film that went straight to streaming on Disney Plus on the sub studio of Fox Studios. It was an animated film called Predator: Killer of Killers. Now, this film was directed by Dan Trachtenberg and Mitchell Rutar, and it was done brilliantly. The animation style was fantastic. The fact that you have all these different, decades of history told within different interpretations of their interactions with the predator. So you've got one with Vikings, one in Japan, one in World War II. And then you get all these kind of different people from time, and then you put them together in an arena when you've got to the home planet of the predators in a way, and just how they interact and how their world was just explored a lot more, and how it was just it was just done so beautifully that I would recommend anyone who's a fan of the franchise is fantastically should definitely would recommend watching Killer of Killers. I would definitely watch it after watching Prey. Prey was a hidden gem that I found a couple of years ago. It was made, and I definitely would recommend watching Killer of Killers if after watching Prey as well. So that's another honorable mention for me. Another film that surprised me this year was a film that's actually you, Maddie, you and I watched together, which was Spit.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to I couldn't go through my honorable mentions without mentioning Spit. I recently rewatched Getting Squared, so I kind of got myself pumped up for the sequel, and I had fun. That's what you want out of this Aussie kind of classic comedy. You wanted to have some fun with the characters, having enjoyment, great screenplay, good direction, and just a nice, easy watching film that you can pop on an afternoon and just not have to worry about overthinking it. You just enjoy hanging out with the characters. And David Wenham just steals the show as he always does, as that character is Spit. So I can't help but mention that and bring that into fruition as a film that I definitely enjoyed and gives an honorable mention on this as well. So
Cool. All right.
I'll throw to you on this one before because there's a little 2 point wrap up before I go into my top 10. But is there anything you'd like to add to this stuff, far?
No, other than Spit is a really good film. I would actually put that in my top 10 if I had a top 10.
There we go.
So,
Cool.
But yeah, that's
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. The last two other things I'll just quickly mention are two documentaries.
Hold on, before anything else, who's gonna pay for me bus fare today?
Oh man, that part made me piss myself. The fact that they threw that joke in there, even from the first one, it was like the director and the screenplay knew they're going, you know what?
We'll make it happen.
We have to put this in.
Yeah,
it's like his tagline.
And he put it in there naturally. It wasn't forced or anything.
No, it wasn't. It was just
it was a natural insert.
Like, very quick and you miss it kind of thing. Like very much goes shredded. It's like it was done perfectly. It was written perfectly. Yeah. So the last 2 points for honorable mentions was the two documentaries I watched, which were I actually gave them both. I'm pretty sure I gave them either 4 or 5 stars. The subject matter that they were made for and the archival footage and just teaching you about what the subject matter was. The first one was the Simple Plan documentary, The Kids in the Crowd. I've been a fan of Simple Plans since the inception or they came in, but I actually learned a lot of stuff that I actually didn't know about the band, which is what you want from a documentary. You want to walk away learning something more and having a bit more pride and appreciation for what it was, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And the other one was Wick is Pain, which is a documentary recently released on the John Wick franchise. Again, I learned a lot of stuff. I learned that the director, which I didn't know, I knew they had it. I didn't realize how much he had a connection with Brendan Lee on The Crow, which The Crow is actually one of my favorite films of all time. And even though I knew that he had a double after he passed away to complete the film, I found out that was the director of John Wick.
Well, there you go.
I didn't know that. Absolutely didn't know. I said, this is the good thing about these documentaries. It just opens your mind, actually explores about some things you didn't actually know about. So I actually learned a lot of stuff about that franchise, which is fantastic. So those were my honorable mentions. Do you have any 2 cents about them?
Nope. Other than some good choices, and it feels like that you got more honorable mentions than you do have your top 10. So it's like more or less your bottom or 10 or your 20 to 11.
Yeah, so there was 7 there.
Okay.
There were 7 honorable mentions there. I could have put a bit more, but I didn't. That's fine. They were the ones at least that stood out thus far coming into this new year.
Let's go into your top 10. Let's start with number 10.
Number 10. All right. Number 10 is Lilo and Stitch, the live action remake done by Dean Fleischer Camp. Beautiful, heartfelt film that was remade beautifully. The original is still a standout, but the Lilo and Stitch movie captured the heart of the original, which is what you wanted. So I definitely walked out of that film having a fantastic time. Fun for all ages still. Has the innocence and the chaotic of what Stitch provides. So if you want to have a fun time at the movies, have a fun time at night with the kids, Lilo and Stitch is one for you.
Number 9, Reece.
Okay, number 9, I put down Warfare, which is directed by Ray Mendoza and Alex Garland. Alex Garland previously gave us Civil War, so I walked into this film thinking I was going to get the same kind of dramatic and aspiring flair, and it provided and some. This film was hauntingly real, screenplay done brilliantly, direction made, and it was just sometimes scary at times with the realism that they provided with this true story of these men stuck on this in the situation that they were. So found it was very well made, performances done beautifully, and I would definitely recommend. It's not a film you would watch on a regular basis, but one you should at least watch once in your lifetime. So I definitely would recommend that as well.
Number 8.
All right, number 8 is one I only recently watched, which was Companion, directed by Drew Hancock. This is a spin on the AI subject matter, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a nice spin on a stereotypical AI storyline about how they operate and things like that. So I found it was very well made. Jack Quaid played the part that he did very, very well. I just found it was a well-rounded film, and it is, even though you had the subject matter of AI, it was done in a brand new, fresh, kind of different twist, which made you kind of think you didn't know where it was going, which is kind of nice as well. The only thing I put down about Companion that I didn't like in that aspect is the fact that they give you the kind of the end plot point in the marketing in the trailer and at the beginning of the film. But other than that, still a great, well-rounded film to watch. So if anyone's intrigued about that film, it flew under the radar. It unfortunately didn't get big at the box office, but it's one I would definitely recommend people checking out and watching.
Number 7.
Number 7 is the latest from MCU. It is Thunderbolts. I again enjoyed this film immensely. It provided a subject matter that the MCU is not used to providing, which is maybe some point around mental health and sometimes a bit about coming together with unlikely heroes inside of things. And I felt it was done, directed very well. The film definitely, even though it's marketed as an ensemble, it's definitely centered around Elena's character, around Florence Pugh's character. I definitely found it was Florence Pugh and it was Red Guardian, David Harbour's dynamic that kind of made the film. It's what made you care about them more so, and then how they included Void and Bob into that as well was just so well made. So I would definitely recommend anyone who's. I found this film is a return to form for the MCU. We're on the right track of getting back onto form after we didn't like what happened with Captain America Brave New World. I didn't enjoy it as much, but I found Thunderbolts was definitely there kicking back into gear and we're getting back on track. So Thunderbolts is number 7 on my list.
Number 6, please, Reece.
Number 6 is a film that I was surprised I loved as much as I did, which is why it's so high on my list, and that is Final Destination Bloodlines. I kind of gave up on this franchise. I didn't care much about number 5. Some of the other films within the franchise I didn't care to as much, but I still went back and rewatched them all before this one. And I can honestly say, besides the horror aspects and the thrills of the first one, this is my favorite in the franchise besides outside of the first. It provides the horror aspects. It provides the changes in the dynamics of the actual story in the universe, and it puts a lot of things in perspective and completes the saga and the franchise brilliantly. It is like I said on this podcast or this episode already, for a lot of other films, it is a return to form for the franchise. Anyone who's sleeping on this film wasn't too sure whether they would go see it or not, relating to maybe they've liked one or two of the franchise and not some of the other ones in later dates, I would recommend it to watch Final Destination Bloodlines. Characters you can relate to, have fun with, and just have some fun. So that is number 6, Final Destination Bloodlines.
Number 5, Reece.
Number 5 is one I recently watched, which I actually recently reviewed on the podcast, which is F1, a film by Joseph Kosinski, who gave us Top Gun Maverick, a fun time at the film at the cinemas. You have Adrenaline, which is always given to us by Joseph Kosinski and producing partners of Jerry Bruckheimer. It just has so much fun. The technology used for the car racing scenes is just phenomenal, where they can switch things from how they actually created the cars and put the cameras on the side of the cars to make everything work. A film that can make you care about the supporting characters without giving it too much screen time, but still makes them a plot point, shows how a director can make those kind of decisions. Just makes it worth looking out for these directors, how they can actually direct these scenes and make you fall in love with it as well. So F1 was definitely is in my top 5 films of the year so far. Fun, energetic, Brad Pitt, all amazing as always. The stunts, everything was fantastic about it. I would definitely, yeah, like I said, F1 is definitely on my list, and it is number 5.
Four. Number four.
Four. Number 4 is the latest within the universe of John Wick, and that is Ballerina. Recently reviewed this as well. I had so much fun with this film, which is what you want out of a John Wick film. Yes, we made some notes on it previously relating to the script not being the fantastic, but you're not expecting that to get any Oscars for screenplay when it comes to John Wick. You have some fun with it, you enjoy it. Yeah, the action is phenomenal as always. The fact that all the action is pretty much all practically done. Anna de Armas steals it as always she does in these last few years. She's incredible, and the Ballerina is just a fun time to have at the movies. Which is what you want. So Ballerina is a tick approval for me, and which is why it sits in number 4.
Number three.
Number 3 is the latest of live action remakes. It's the second on my list, which is How to Train Your Dragon. I loved the original film. It had so much heart and so much charisma and just so much entertaining aspects to it in relation to Hiccup and Toothless. And I got that same feeling when watching this film. I was a little bit cautious, and when you watch the first 15 minutes of the film, and you kind of feel a bit taken aback in certain aspects of it, in relation to you feel like you're on a set and some of the dialogue's not fantastic, but as soon as Toothless comes onto screen, it all goes away and the film just goes up and up and it just crescendos to an amazing overall film as well. So any live action studio or any studio wanting to do live action remakes, How You Train Your Dragon is a blueprint now. It's absolutely fantastically made. The entire cast is fantastic. I don't believe that they could have got a better cast to play Hiccup, Astrid. The fact that they've got Gerard Butler back to play Stoic is absolutely brilliant, and just the emotion and the heart, and just makes you fall in love with the chemistry between Toothless and Hiccup all over again. So I would love to go see this movie again, and I most likely will definitely see it again when it comes up on streaming again. I just love escaping into the world of Burke and the characters that it involves. So the whole point behind the adapted screenplay, the performances, the score, the fact that they've got the original, the composer to come back and do the score again, just really hits you in the heartstrings as well. So number 3 on my list is How to Train Your Dragon.
Here comes 2.
Number 2. All right, Mike, coming down into my final 2. So anyone who's been listening to this might be surprised by this, but after some contemplation over the last couple of days, number 2 is actually Superman. Superman, after we just made that review on it, is my number 2. I don't need to rehash it about all over again, but Superman was just provided me with a lot of hope. It made me want to be a better person walking out of the film, which is what Superman stands for. He stands for hope and peace and justice, and make you wanting to be a better person, and knowing that even though life struggles, you get up pretty much life struggles throws you things at your way. You get up every morning and you put one foot in front of the other and you try to do better, which is what this film provides you with, and I just love it so much. So
Well, the S does mean hope.
yes, in some aspects of the comics, S does mean hope. So in my list, Superman sits at number 2.
And number 1.
I'll get you next time, Gadget. Next time.
That sounded really cool.
It actually did sound really cool. Cool. Number 1 on my list is Sinners from Ryan Coogler. Now, I was looking forward to this film all year, but I walked out of this film so much more impressed and surprised than I thought. the fact that you've got this film marketed as a vampire film, but within the first 40 or so minutes, you completely forget that you're watching a vampire movie because the characters are written so well. It's directed so beautifully. Michael B. Jordan is making some great performances. And you completely get encapsulated within what the dynamic is of the story. So by the time they actually introduce the so-called vampires in a way, which doesn't come up until a good 40 or so minutes into the film, you're completely going, oh, yeah, that's right. There's vampires in this movie. And the fact that they actually incorporate and encompass the blues of the South into the film as well just gives it a whole other character. Some of the cinematography shots they do, absolutely, the director of photography should be commended on this film, which I actually think that when it comes to the Oscars next year, I would not be surprised if Sinner gets a nomination for Best Picture.
Nice.
Which is going to be a big thing because it's a horror. It's marketed and it's actually presented as a horror film in some aspects as well. So I would not be surprised if it got nominated, at least for direction for Ryan Coogler, maybe Best Picture, maybe cinematography, depending on how things go for the remaining of this year. But I personally found it very, very enjoyable. It's got a runtime. I think it's got a runtime of just over 2 hours, maybe 2 hours, 15 minutes, something like that. So I know some people may felt the runtime, but I didn't. That first act gets you enticed within the characters itself. So I just feel once you get within the first second, you get intrigued with the world that Coogler has established. You're off to the races from there. And then by the time you get into the other side of the thing, when the darker tones come into it, you're just so encompassed within what's going on that you follow it all the way through. And so the performances, not just by Michael B. Jordan, but all the supporting cast, including Haley Seinfeld that's in it as well. The soundtrack is its own character as well. It has some great kind of blues, kind of Essex to it as well, along with the score. Fantastic film. So at the present moment, that is Sinners is my number one. So that just caps everything. So just to recap, number 10, Lilo and Stitch. Number 9, Warfare. Number 8, Companion. Number 7, Thunderbolts. Number 6, Final Destination, Bloodlines. Number 5, F1. Number 4, Ballerina. Number 3, How to Train Your Dragon. Number 2, Superman. And number 1, Sinners.
That's a great list. Well done, Reece. Okay, so we've had, at the beginning of the show, we've had a review on Superman, the latest movie. Then we've had your top 10 and plenty of honourable mentions of the movies that you've seen so far of 2025. Now, time for a rewind, and it's a classic review. So, and this was one of my recommendations to Reece here because it was with the passing of the legendary Gene Hackman, and whenever there's usually a big movie star who passes away, everyone suddenly is an expert or go, hey, you got to watch this movie, and so forth, like that, just plentiful of their stuff, of their library of films. But with this movie in particular is extremely iconic, especially only a couple of years ago too. The director of the film, William Friedkin, had passed away too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. Well, this one, now that I've mentioned the director and Gene Hackman, so we're talking about, what movie is it, Reece?
The French Connection, released in 1971.
Yes, and please tell me what you think about The French Connection.
So I watched this late at night. So when everyone went to bed, I stayed up and I thought I would take on the recommendation.
Before we go into anything else with Reece's reviews on this, Reece tends to watch a lot of movies that are like, if it's classic stuff, it's blockbuster films. I'm talking Jaws and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But so anything from the 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever, blockbuster movies, and then 90s and noughties and modern day, it's more or less the more commercial-esque type films.
Yeah,
but still
it is,
blockbuster. But Reece isn't like known to watch your art house or too much low budget or the drama stuff, which weren't huge back in the day, but they've got a major, like they've won awards or whatever like that. So
Yeah.
the French Connection is out of the comfort zone for Reece. So
It is, yeah. But I think my appreciation and my styles in relation to that is definitely amending over the years. Like
it's
that was definitely
maturing
my
like a
point of
fine
view.
wine, mate.
It is. I think so, yeah, absolutely. So I think a lot of these types of films I'm a lot more open to. So like a lot of things on my list of things to rewatch and hopefully review on this podcast is going to be a lot of films in from the past and going. So I think I've noted this before. I've got on my list. I'll be hopefully watching Casablanca, The Man Who Shot Liberty
And
Valance.
I'm going to give you
Jennifer
some Marx Brothers movies too. So
Yeah, so I definitely would have a lot of classic films. I think this film just is kicked off this new journey that I'm going to be going on with exploring the past, which I am so open for to doing so because it kind of gives me that kind of a more appreciation of what cinema was in some of the heydays, as some people say, of those kind of points. So the French Connection, like I said, I watched this late at night while I was by myself, just everyone went to bed and just put this on and went, you know what? After watching, like I said, Gene Hackman passed away recently, so I was one of those people. Went, you know what? I'm going to go back and try and see some films of Gene Hackman. So I went on and watched for the first time Crimson Tide, which I'd never seen before, and I absolutely freaking loved it. So with this one, I went, you know what? I want to see what the fuss is all about. And with your recommendation, Matt, I thought I'll give this one a go. So I gave this on Letterboxd 3 stars. So I did find that it was there is Gene Hackman steals a film. Absolutely, he does. He's kind of wise, kind of cracker. Not wisecracker, but he's definitely much as stereotypical cops that you see of films a lot more replicated these days, where he beats up the criminals, but makes a point like he tries to get them onto his side and makes it a point to show those kind of things. I found the biggest thing that stood out for me that is that it really depicts the grittiness and the realism of the 1970s in New York. I think that's the biggest thing that showed, and the fact that the director of photography, when it comes to his cinematography, was able to capture that within the first, like, you watch the first few scenes in the first hour or so of the film, which maybe only goes for an hour and 40 minutes, which is kind of short kind of film. I just found it was done very fresh, and I thought that first era that was released in the 1971 would have been definitely a change of pace for a lot of other films that have been released around that time. So I just found it was done very well when it comes to that depiction of the sets, or I would assume that they filmed on location mostly, but the idea of using that grittiness to just to show the realism of the world that is they're trying to depict of that underground kind of feel to New York City. I did find, even though Roy Schneider is in this film, I personally thought that he was unfortunately wasted because it actually doesn't appear as much as I thought he would. And even though he has some key scenes with Gene Hackman, he didn't actually provide too much plot points to the story too much. And I found that even though he had his name in there and he helped in certain points, the film really banked on Gene Hackman's character and trying to get the idea of getting these people and getting the criminals away and busting them as well. And on top with that, I thought at some points the editing and directing falls short with the narrative being missed in certain points, and so you kind of with the narrative kind of being lost with those editing and the direction, you kind of feel some of the plot is missed in certain points, and the fact that you've got a big of a shock crescendo ending, which the film's been out since 1971, so you haven't seen the movie. I doubt you probably will see it because so I can pretty much say spoilers. um, so the fact you've got an abrupt ending where he shoots his the cop at the end, and then pretty much 5 seconds, like a minute or so later, it just abruptly ends. I went, oh, I don't know if that was a subject of the time, that because it's 1970, that's how films were kind of made for its time, where it has such an abrupt ending, or if they had a point of knowing that they're already going into a sequel. I'm not too sure. But the fact that they made it at that point, then made the ending that they did, it kind of opened up the world of allowing them to come back. So I just thought that the fact that they had that abrupt ending when some of the shots on the editing and the direction kind of fell short with the overall subject matter of it and made it compelling to kind of keep up with it was some of the cons and the draw down points of this film. But other than that, outside of that, I think that's why I said I still gave it a 3-star rating, which means it definitely peaked, gave enough pros for me to enjoy it.
Okay, good. Now you'll need to. What did you think of the ending of it? Like,
well, that's the thing. It was this. I think what you said to me a little while ago is that a lot of films replicate certain things that are happening in these types of films back in the day.
it's based on a true story. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't realize that until like when you open this film, it doesn't say based on a true story or anything. So when it starts giving you some subject matter in the credits, you're going, "Huh, true story. How about that?" But I just found that the ending was shocking in a way because you didn't realize he was going to shoot the other cop. But the fact of the matter is that subject point and that plot point, now I understand what you were saying prior, is that is replicated in a lot of those style of genre films post French Connection coming out. Because that's probably at the time when this film was released in 1971, those kind of plot points and those kind of genre films were probably not as big as they are going into the 80s and 90s and moving forward. So I found that was like kind of, because when I was watching this film, I'm going, you know what? Take my brain as much as I can and put myself into a 70s, 80s time mindset and not into a 2025 mindset, and just take it on that aspect as well. And I found that's the reason why I got engaged within the story. And when that scene came up, I went, oh, wow, okay, that happens. and then I was kind of shocked with it. And that's why I think I was a bit more of a disappointed the fact that you had that scene and then literally 3 minutes later it just goes bang and it stops. And I went, oh, okay, that's it. Right, okay. And I kind of put a little bit of bad taste in my mouth, the fact that they brought to the end of it so quickly and then straight into the dialogue of the stories of the true story behind it. So I still definitely would say the thumbs up of Thumbs Down World, I give it a thumbs up. It's gave it 3 stars. It has a like for me. I enjoy the grittiness of the world that they will provide and they were showcasing. I loved how they depicted New York City with the cinematography. Gene Hackman is definitely a standout. Shows again why he, even at the time, he is a legend in his own right with being able to lead a film and keep you charismatically engaged and just being able to follow it. It's just like I said previously. There's certain points that I found that you took you out of the story. A lot of points with certain points when it comes to the editing and direction and some of the narrative and plot points being missed. But other than that,
brilliant.
Good job with it. So recommendation. Now, my question to you is, with the abruptness of the ending, is it a 100% requirement for me to go and watch the second one?
Well, the second one is, I feel like, was just made so you can get a conclusion. The second one is a work of fiction. So it's the continuation of Gene Hackman. So I don't want to say it anymore, but if you want some, and it's brilliantly done too. So great storyline and everything, but in some parts it's a bit unrealistic. But I would recommend, if you want some type of satisfactory conclusion, then I would watch French Connection 2. That's all I'm saying.
Are they directed and screenplay by the same people?
It was directed by John Frankenheimer. And
never heard of him.
Well, so it didn't have the same essence and style as the first one, but the storyline is basically a continuation of what could have been, if that makes sense. Okay. But John Frankenheimer, he was known directing Birdman of Alcatraz, The Manchurian Candidate.
Oh, didn't they made a remake of that, didn't it, with Denzel?
And then Island of Dr. Moreau, the remake. Ronin, he did Ronin as well, and Reindeer Games.
Okay.
Yeah, so you might want to get up to date with that. So you know him.
Yeah, okay.
You-
Well,
you know-
listen,
you-
if you recommend to complete the actual story.
do it, mate, because when I first watched French Connection, it left an awkward,
Impression.
like I'm going, oh, okay. And then so I had to do research and went, okay, now I see why they ended it that way. Because when you end up looking up what the movie was based on, then it's like, okay, cool. So they couldn't,
Yeah, can you provide some context?
Well,
Just a little bit of context?
what, a French Connection too?
No, just saying that with like you were saying that
but
the reason why you understood the ending, why it was after you realized the subject matter and the source material, you understood why it was abruptly ended.
Because the
Could you give us a little bit
the
of context?
criminal wasn't caught. He was, yeah, the baddie wasn't caught.
Yeah. Okay. So that point I understand. I didn't think that they could have.
Well, he
could've
managed to escape to a different country, and then so he was an outlaw. He was always wanted, but then he disappeared, and there were sightings of him, and then apparently he died by himself somewhere.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I just thought, like I said, it was an abrupt ending, and if that was the case with the person kind of lived his life alone, that kind of stuff, that could have been explained maybe with one extra
But
scene.
that wasn't done until later on, like years down the track. So after the movie.
Okay.
But,
all right, cool. No worries.
But pretty much a
was...
summary of French Connection, and I'm happy to review it as well. First time watching it, I gave it a 3, but the more that I watched it, the more I fell in love with it. So I give it a 4 out of 5 stars.
Beautiful. Like I said, yep, I gave it 3. You gave it 4, and what we would do is I'll get on to watching French Connection 2 at some point, and we can come back and
we'll
rehash.
We'll do a part 2, yeah.
Part 2 for
cool.
2.
Okay, well, that wraps up this episode of Reece's Reviews. Wow, we crammed a lot in there. Reece, you are just, a pot full of gold, really. So you've got amazing movie tastes, and you've seen a lot for the year, and we're only halfway through it, of 2025. So looking forward to...
Yeah, so I think when we get to the end of the year, what we're going to do is I'll do... Like I did like this one, I'll do my top 10 films of 2025 when we get towards the end of the year. So I think the beginning of 2026, we might do an episode where we do top 10. We'll both conform our lists about our top 10 25 films released in 2025, and we'll just make our top 10 lists and give and just limit ourselves to maybe 4 or 5 honorable mentions.
Yep. And also,
we'll take
this is not a full review, but I've already watched the first 2 episodes of Dexter Resurrection. And Dexter Morgan's back, baby. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, what I love to hear. I cannot wait to hear your reaction to the end of that one.
Bloody awesome. Just those 2 episodes.
Awesome.
So, I'll do my full
fantastic
review of the series once it finishes.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Well, like I said, we have been given some lovely comments and some feedback from people as well. So it's definitely going to be on my list. We have received the feedback of watching Kill Bill. So I will be getting onto that at some point for future episodes. I'll be watching Kill Bill. We'll probably review those movies in the one episode, because I would technically Kill Bill 1, Volume 1 and 2 are one complete story. So we'll do that in the future, along with some other classic films as well. So that's in the pipeline.
Feel free to email us info@mygeekculture.com.au, or leave comments on our Spotify page as well, the feed. So, by all means. And again, thank you very much for coming on and chatting films, Reece.
Thank you for having me. Like I said, I'm more than happy to open up the forum to our amazing audience of our fellow geekdom and nerddom of all things entertainment and love of films and all those kind of fun stuff. So if anyone has any recommendations or any points they want to bring out,
reach out to us.
I can reach out to us by those forums, and we're happy to take them on board.
And all the necessary links for this episode are in the show notes. So my name is Matt. Thank you again, Reece. This has been Reece's Reviews for mygeekculture.com.au, produced by Matt Fulton Productions, mattfulton.com.au. Catch you next episode. Bye.
May the force be with you.